Hello, and welcome to this edition of the Angels and Destiny show. Why is this show called this, you may ask? So I tell you. The accepted meaning of angel is messenger, and the accepted meaning of destiny is to make firm establish. So my guests and I bring you messages to establish what you need to know in the present. And also, I like working with angels and the calmness they bring. Now, in a moment, I will introduce you to my wonderful guest, Alexandra Wenman. But before that, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching the show live at a later date, as it really does mean a lot to me to be able to connect with like-minded people. Now, if you've never met before, then my name is Ray, and I'm a guide who lights your way so that you can journey into your heart, your divine presence to heal your past, create your future, and transform your present, so that you can take charge of your destiny and spread your wings to fly. I'm the founder of Radiant Angel Energy, and I use Angelic Reiki, future life progression, past life regression, guided meditation, and angel oracle cards to assist you if you feel lost or confused, so you can get clear on your reason for being here. I also offer several transformational packages, a journey through lifetimes, and a 6-week guided meditation series to help you gain confidence to take charge of your destiny. Now, each episode of this show covers various themes of your journey, a mini guided meditation and or an oracle angel card with the wisdom of my wonderful guests, like today's guest, Alexandra Wenman, who'll be chatting with me about Archangel Alchemy and what it means to be a world angel, doing service work and grid work that includes angelic death, doula work. Now, Alexandra is the Archangel Alchemist who is devoted to normalising the conversation about spirituality and awakening. Alexandra brings the out there in here with her down to earth approach to channeling the higher wisdom, assessing our Akashic and soul records, recognizing our true multidimensional nature, and honoring our divinity. Now, a gifted angel communicator, spiritual alchemist, clear channel, healer, poet, and presenter, and author. Alexandra has become a go to expert and wise woman in the world that is waking up quicker than ever before. Previously editor of Prediction, the UK's longest running holistic magazine. Alexandra is a trusted author, co-author and contributor. She has appeared on ITV's This Morning, is an angel expert for Sky's Feel Good Factor TV, and features regularly in the mainstream press. Alexandra is the author of Archangel Fire Oracle, which is out now on Fintorn Press, and her new book, Archangel Alchemy Healing, The Celestial Science in the Vibration of the Universe, is available to pre-order, and that's out in October 2022. Now, her collections of poetry and of poems of precious wisdom and the poetry of light are also available through Amazon and Barnes Noble. Now, with testimonials such as, my session with Alexandra was very powerful. Although at the time it seemed very gentle, it led to a clearing some very old and deep-rooted patterns that I'm very happy to be free of. Thank you. And Alexandra, just I had to send you a note to say wow and thank you. You have set me on an exciting trajectory, Alexandra, and I'm forever grateful. And thank you beyond words. You are beyond human, and your work is needed and mighty powerful. So, without further delay, hello, Alexandra, and welcome to the Angels and Destiny show. How are you today?
Hi, Ray. That was a bit of a mouthful. Did I not send you the short bio?
No.
Oh my crikey. Okay. Do we need to say anything else now?
Not really. I think we've just covered everything. Might as well just go home.
Oh, yeah. Thanks everyone. Bye.
No.
Can I
Um,
just say hi to Elaine and Eric who've come on to say
they
hi
have they
on
have
the comments.
indeed.
Hello.
Yep.
Nice to meet you guys.
They've come.
Hi Teresa. I love the
Uh,
bio. Oh
oh,
my
excellent.
God. Need I say anything else? Thank you so much for having me, honey. It's lovely, lovely to be back on here chatting with you again. I always love coming and chatting with
Oh,
you guys.
it's brilliant. Thank you so much for wanting to come on again, because we do have some very interesting conversations that go anywhere and
We
everywhere.
do. We do indeed. We do indeed. I love it.
So, so before we do get into this fascinating conversation, I want to remind everyone that not only can you share this video, but you can also ask questions, leave comments and thoughts, as both Alexandra and I want to be part of this conversation. So please don't be shy. So, Alexandra, why don't you tell us more about your journey, Archangel Alchemy, and what it means to be a world angel?
Oh, wow. It's an interesting one. I don't want to delve too deeply into, I guess, my journey because really I think we're here for you guys. But uh, how it all started for me was death, really. I mean, I died at birth. So birth and death go very much hand in hand for me and the work that I do. And but for whatever reason, having gone through that initial trauma, I mean, my mother was basically told she was having a stillborn. But I think, well, I believe that I came in very, very open. And I always had a connection to the angels and to spirit as a child. As I grew up, that was kind of shut down going into the education system, being raised a Catholic. And no offense to any Catholics here, but it didn't do me any any favors. Um, but when I sort of reached about 14, I had a bit of a calling, said no to spirit. I had all my ancestors turn up in my bedroom and I said no. And then another 7 years went by and I decided to move to the UK from Australia. And at that point, I went through some really, really tough times. But my great grandmother, who I was very close to, had passed around the time I moved, and she turned up. She turned up, and it was like, "You're called. You're not. You can't close this down anymore." And it was literally like everything had opened up. And took another number of years before I actually went and did any training and learned how to use my abilities um, and I guess get on the path. I was very reluctant. I'm the most reluctant channel. I'm like, they have to drag me kicking and screaming to do anything, and as a result, I end up getting to go through some pretty tricky initiations, and it's always really hard. And I think I just make it hard for myself. I was like, I just want to be a writer. No, no, you can't just be a writer. You're going to go be a journalist, then you're going to be the editor of a spiritual magazine, and now you're going to write books about angels. And it's like, can't I just be normal? No, not allowed. Really, really not allowed. Kind of embarrassing. And Ray and I were just having a conversation about how after the magazine I had worked for had unceremoniously collapsed, and I had to go back into mainstream media as part of my job. It was literally like coming out of the spiritual closet and like,
Going
please,
straight
please
back in.
don't look at me. I talk to angels. It's hilarious. But, you know, it doesn't matter how difficult it has been. I've always been supported. And the one thing that I can say is that angels will always be there for you no matter what. And they might put you through your paces. They're not always light and fluffy. Some of the trials that we go through in order to stretch us and make us grow they're for our benefit. They might not feel comfortable at the time that we're going through them, but with the angels on your side, you will never put a foot wrong. And some of the experiences I've had it's much more than kind of one-on-one healing, much more than just following my own journey. When you start to really open your heart and follow your purpose and your calling, there's no telling where you'll be led. And some of the work that I do is what we call planetary grid work, which I didn't even have a label for when I started doing it. But I love travel. But for whatever reason, I've been guided all over this planet to multiple sacred sites, doing work on the earth herself and in areas where I've done things like massive spirit release. I travel a lot with a dear friend of mine, Lorraine Flaherty, who Ray knows of as well,
And who has been a guest on my show,
and
so
who's
go and
also
check out
been
a
a guest.
previous episode.
He has indeed. So we do a lot of work together. We've taught retreats together, but a lot of this work is just us traveling together, doing the work that you don't get paid for, the actual service work. And it's pretty tricky some of the time. And sometimes, I've found myself during pandemic traveling through closed borders. And, you know, it beggars belief, really, the fact that you can actually, there are a different set of rules, I think, when it comes to doing service work. The way will open if it's meant to open for you. And yeah, it's interesting. So I've been to a lot of places simultaneously as a service worker and a tourist, because they're fun to visit as well. So I've been to the pyramids multiple times in Peru and, Machu Picchu, places like that. And one time on my honeymoon was actually stranded on Easter Island because there was a flight strike and they were running out of supplies, and it was quite funny. But service work, one of the things I really wanted to talk to you about today, service work, is very much connected with death and with transitions and with passing. And it's some of the most beautiful work I think I've ever done or been asked to do. And it can pop up when you least expect it. And obviously, after nearly 3 years of pandemic and the huge portal being open, many people are losing people at the moment. Many souls are stepping across the veil. And in the last couple of weeks, I've just lost multiple family members and a really dear old friend the other day. And we're having to deal with the after effects of grief, global grief, collective grief, personal grief, and there's quite a lot to this. And even if you haven't lost anyone, if no one close to you has passed over, the whole of the planet is going through a bit of a collective mourning because we're grieving what life used to be like. We're grieving the old earth. We're stepping across a threshold into the new earth. And there's so many changes and there's so much uncertainty. And it really is like a huge birth and death portal has simultaneously opened. And I think this is, really one of the main reasons why I had to go through that in my own birth death story, because this is simultaneously a birth and a death. And there's no two ways about it. It's both joyful and exuberant and exciting and terrifying and sad and horrible. And as humans, we're allowed to say that. We're allowed to own our emotions. There are bits of this that have just been downright horrific for some of us, for many of us. And it's about finding the center and finding the balance. And all the work that I do is about aligning you to your own divinity, to your own stability point, to your own place of centeredness, harmony, balance. So I work a lot with sacred geometry and the technology that the angels have given me. And unconditional love. Unconditional love is really the rudder that is going to steer us through any of it. And unconditional love differs from, say, compassionate love or romantic love in that it is completely neutral. It isn't good, it isn't bad, it just is. And it is that middle path. And that's as simple as it is. Love will never steer you wrong if you can hold fast to it and trust it and allow yourself to trust that no matter what things look like on the outside, if you stay in that trust, that is the sword of truth, and you will come through it. And we don't realize how powerful we are. We are co-creators of our existence, and that you can listen to The Secret, which is, oh, your thoughts create your reality. It runs a bit deeper than that. It's not quite as cut and dry as that, but I do believe that our perceptions hold power, and if we see everything as falling apart, then
Yeah.
that's what we're going to get. And if we see everything as rearranging itself and renewing itself, then that's what we're going to get. We're going to get a whole new world that is beautiful, and there's enough for all. There's a whole restructuring going on. A lot of people are saying it's being destructive, but there's a restructuring going on, and the angels are overlighting it along with many other beings, star beings, ascended masters. So sorry, I went on a roundabout tangent to answer your question, Ray.
That's
I think I've just gone from my journey into what I'm perceiving is going on right now. But I mean, there's so much in it. And as part of what we're doing tonight, I would like to take people through a bit of a process to help people through the transition period or through the death process, or what to do if you know of somebody who's passing over. So perhaps we can tag that on the end, or
Yeah.
talk about that a bit later on.
Yeah, no, that's sort of fine. Just remind us to talk about it because we could go
I
off
know
on
you
a
and I will, but
it will be something else to come and go,
yeah.
"Well, actually, let's just talk about, talk about that one." So how does, alchemy come into this? Where did all this alchemy sort of like come in to work with the angels, the
Well,
archangels?
I was given the word alchemy, way back in about 2008. I think it was 2008, 2009. I had a really powerful, fully embodied experience hurtling through London on a bus. I was traveling on the bus to work. I was sitting in the top deck of a London bus
At the front?
at the very front.
Oh, I like that spot.
At the very front. Yeah, I was driving the bus, not,
Yeah.
but yeah, it kind of felt like I was, but I don't think I'd even had any training in anything at this point, but I used to just meditate by dropping into my heart space and sending love, just sending light out to everybody. And I felt really, really tired. And now I know as a channel that that's my signal that there's a guide about to kind of step in and communicate with me. But I didn't know that as a sign at that time. And I was overcome with this real powerful kind of sleepiness, dropped into my heart and just started sending love. And then suddenly the whole experience of reality that I was in vanished. It was like everything opened up, the whole universe opened up, and this huge being stepped into my energy field. And it was like I was him at the same time as I was seeing him from all angles. I'd had an experience like that with the Archangel Metatron only a few months before. And this being was no angel I'd ever heard of. And of course, lots of people will have heard of him now. He seems to be everywhere, but his name was Melchizedek. And Melchizedek basically showed me that he was the consciousness of the whole universe. He was absolutely huge, like a wizard with a beard of cloud, and he had planets orbiting around his head, and he was
Wow.
absolutely mammoth. And Melchizedek came with a message like I all I could do was sit and kind of shake in my seat as this energy of love rushed through my body like a divine electricity. And I've written about it in that book, this divine electricity that sort of comes through the body and is like plugging yourself into a socket of the most profound love you'll ever experience. And I asked him what it was, what the energy was that he was showing me, this golden energy. And he said two words: spiritual alchemy. And I didn't know what I was dealing with. I had no idea who I was. Like, I've now remembered loads of my past lives and all the trainings that I've had and what's brought me to this lifetime now. But this spiritual alchemy really set me on a path to figure out what was this that I was being given? What was I dealing with? And in those years leading up to 2012, I started channeling a healing system. Well, a few different healing systems actually, but there were two in particular. One was called Archangel Alchemy, and the second one was called Precious Wisdom.
I've experienced that. It's really good.
Thanks, honey. And Archangel Alchemy was about working with the angelic technologies, specifically with the archangels, with their fire, their holy flames, and their holy electricity, divine electricity, but also sacred geometry and symbols that they gave me as part of the healing system. And then Precious Wisdom was a whole other shebang, and it was basically, I call it Precious Wisdom Alchemy, but it is an energy healing system. And I was given an attunement with lots of sacred symbols in golden energy, golden light, which is for this time now. And it does exactly what I was explaining, helps you to stay in that path of unconditional love, find your center, but then it simultaneously will transmute and dilute and shift and change. It alters the fabric of your life, really. It's a rapid accelerator. So alchemy, in terms of, the old mystery schools, was about turning lead into gold, but it was never really about physically turning lead into gold. It was always a secret hidden code, really, a code for the transformation of the soul. And from the base human, we're the lead. We think that we're lesser. We think that we are um, just physical beings, but actually we are the divine housed in flesh. And that experience of alchemy is that realization of the gold of the soul that shines through. So I think definitely as you work with Archangel Alchemy or Precious Wisdom, it's an incremental process. It's each system has one attunement. Well, they both have a different separate attunement, but it's one attunement that you work with again and again and again and again. And it's like polishing up the diamond of your soul energy. So it will simultaneously clear and align you. And that's an alchemy. You just keep diluting with unconditional love, keep diluting with unconditional love and raising up your frequency. Eric's just made a
He
comment.
has indeed. He says, Alexandra, I just realised, based off your description of Melchizedek, that I have your cards and love them.
Oh,
Thank you so much for them. The techniques in them are really cool.
oh, thank you, Eric. Yeah, that was the story of Melchizedek. Yeah, that's it. I did write about it in the cards, and I've written about it in the book as well. And if you've got the cards and you want to delve even deeper into the technology and the science of the archangels, and the Alchemy, that book. So every chapter has processes, but I've also included in every chapter scientific studies that basically quantifies the existence of angels scientifically.
Yeah.
So there's mathematical proof in that book of the existence of angels, and it blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing now, isn't it? Science and spirituality are actually, we now not need to, we can't now see them as two separate entities. We have to see them as one entity because they both work with each other absolutely
Absolutely.
beautifully.
Yeah. Hey,
So we
when
have
the
to get out of
mystics
that
have known it
mindset.
forever, haven't we? What the mystics have known, science is now catching up with. I just want to say hi to Evie. Hi, Evie. Lovely to see you, honey. And hi, everybody else. There's loads of comments coming on here.
They
Brilliant.
are
People
indeed.
are asking for a reading. We're going to do a read. We will do a reading. We're going to
At
pull
the end.
some cards
Yeah,
and do a
yeah,
process.
yeah. Because this isn't my angels and spirits show where me and Graham normally do readings, and that. This is a conversation, and we will do something at the end for you. And Eric says, "Sounds like I'm about to purchase it."
Thanks, Eric. Bless you. Well, it's probably about 12 or 13 years actually in the researching and the channeling and the bringing together that book. It's been a long time in the coming, and yeah, wasn't without its trials. Let's just let's just say, and you'll find out about it as you read about it. But yeah, it's powerful stuff, these archangels. They're powerful things. And I will say, if you are a grid worker or an earth service worker, it's likely that you'll know that. Usually you'll just find that you are guided to certain places where you know you've got to be there. You don't even know what you're necessarily doing there, but you just feel that you have to go and stand in a certain spot or travel to a certain location, and you're actually already doing the work without even realizing that you're doing it. And what we're doing is kind of, if you've ever seen the film The Matrix, it is a little bit like that. I get shown it like a computer game, and I know that it was happening before I even realized it was happening, but I would see these energy grids that needed undoing, that were keeping us in a lower frequency or a lower state of consciousness. And I was able to clear these grids and able to work on ley lines and open up the beautiful channels of love. And we're basically all returning to a oneness, a recognition of our divinity. Hi,
Yeah,
Suze. Hi, Helen.
yeah, and and that's the thing. Now we're also creating new grids as well.
That's it. We're
Um,
replacing the old. So it is an alchemy on a global scale as well. Oh, on a multi-universal scale, actually.
Yeah, because it is multi-dimensional now, isn't it? Everything really is coming out the 3D into multi-dimensional stuff now. Hence why we've got a lot of. I mean, I don't like the word extraterrestrials. I actually call them extra dimensionals.
Yeah, I call
Um,
them interdimensionals. Yeah.
yeah, because we're getting more news about that coming out. With the Pentagon releasing paperwork and stuff. Now it's like, "Oh, they've been here for a long while.
I don't know how subtly that was all released. It's like, oh, and by the way, yes, yes, this has, we'll admit it, but we're not going to admit it with a big fanfare. So
No,
it just
no.
goes over people's heads.
Yeah, we're just gonna drip feed it. But yeah, very interesting reading some of those articles. Um, and that you won't get it on the mainstream news. Hence why I don't watch the mainstream news because you
Oh
don't get
no, I
anything.
think the New York Post did do an article, or was it the New
Mm,
York Times? One of them did do an article, but again, it was quite. I think it was quite. There
yeah,
was no fanfare.
nope, nope. And Eric says, I love that. I've been working on creating more sacred spaces lately to bring more light into my life.
Yes, Eric.
And Eric recently did Angelic Reiki.
Oh, fantastic. Well, see, even that, even if all you do is that opening the pillar of light, that is exactly it. It's just the recognition of the multidimensionality of everything. You stand in a space and just connect in your intention to your divinity. You're already doing it. You're already raising the frequency of the planet. And us connecting here like this now, we're doing that. And it's kind of my intention. I'm doing a fair few number of interviews suddenly this week, and I know that it feels really poignant to me because I've been just in the writing cave for ages and haven't come out. but I thought, if I'm going to be doing these interviews, I want to use it for a really good purpose. And as we meet here together collectively, we can all ask to open a pillar of light, a portal of light, so that if there are any souls passing on, that they go to the highest point of their evolution and they know where to go. So we help to send them home. There's a lot of souls that wander the earth not knowing, half of them, that they've even died, not knowing, because how many people don't believe in an afterlife or don't know what that is? Whereas I remember lifetimes in Egypt where I was trained to know where to go at the death point, to know exactly where I was going when I died. And I think that's why I have the ability to remember who I was.
Yeah.
You can pass through the veil of amnesia, or you can come in having, passed
Yeah.
directly home to where you were meant to go, that highest point, and then you can maintain your memories. It takes a little bit of work to get through the layers, but that's also part of the byproduct of working with the angels and doing this work, hey Ray, and sifting through your past
Exactly.
lives and delving into your future lives and your
Exactly. It's just
multidimensionality.
it's just like there's so many different aspects of it, and you're talking about helping souls move on. One thing that really annoys me about ghost hunting programs
Yeah,
is they go and they contact these ghosts or these spirits, but then they don't do anything. They just leave them there. They don't actually say, "Okay, do you want to go or do you want to stay?" And
yeah,
I
that's
think
one
that's really
thing.
rude.
Yeah,
If you encounter a spirit, give them the choice.
give
If
them
you
the
want to go, I can
choice.
help you. If
Yeah.
you want to stay,
That's one thing Lorraine and I talk about a lot, and we've done a few, but actually on my YouTube, there's a few shows that we did together where we went around. We were in Joshua Tree for one, but we made a quite a funny video about that, but it was one of the most terrifying experiences I think I'd ever had. But that's part of the work we do, is going and releasing them from these places, because you get them just stuck there or playing on a loop, not knowing, lots of places that where their souls get trapped, and some of them have been deliberately trapped as well. It's a little bit like
mm,
spiritual slavery,
yeah,
which isn't very fair. It keeps that old matrix in place. It's run on energy, and yeah, some of that energy is, unfortunately.
yeah. So as we're talking about death now, um, shall we go back to the death doula work,
Yeah,
and how, and how we, in our own individual ways, can actually help with that.
absolutely. I'll share a recent story, actually, because we lost my mum's brother. God, it was only not even a month, maybe a month ago. Um, and my cousin he he had a brain tumor, and my cousin was just watching him suffer, and they were really struggling, and she sent me a message and said, please, if there's a way that you can speed this up for him, can you help? And I explained to her, look, I can't, it's not my decision, it's his decision, really, and I can't speed it up. We can ask, we can request, but we can't actually do anything other than giving him permission to go. And I guided her through a little process of opening the pillar of light, setting the intention for him to leave the body through the crown, through the highest point of leaving the body, which is something that if you've done angelic Reiki, you will learn about death and dying, and the three parts of the body that you can leave through. And I said to her, he's probably just waiting for permission. He probably doesn't want to leave you guys. And then she messaged me. He did pass, but she messaged me later and she said, thank you for letting me know that, because I went and I sat with him and I said, it's okay. We're okay. You can go. And he took his last breath at that moment. So sometimes it's just enough to have that knowledge to let somebody know it's okay. You don't have to stay, you don't have to suffer. You can step across, and all the support will be there for them. And I've seen so much now where I've had experiences of people passing, and I've gone part of the way with them to kind of help them across that divide. And I do think, I think any of us can do this. It's just, I think everybody has this ability. It's just, for whatever reason, I guess I'm kind of comfortable with one foot either
Yeah,
side. um, but it's humbling work. it's not something I never signed up for it. I specifically said to my guides, I don't want to see dead people. But when it started happening in the mediumship side of things is actually some of the most beautiful work you'll ever do. There was a guy a number of years ago, and I hadn't actually ever done any of this work in a capacity as employment. It was just something I would do for friends and family, or if I knew someone was passing, I would just do it.
Yeah.
And then one day a woman came to me and she said, "My brother's in a coma, will you help?" And I could kind of see him hanging there in limbo. And I went to the hospital and he was in intensive care. And again, like, it touches you. I don't think you can do this work and not be affected. And I feel this soul of this guy around me a lot, and I think he might actually now be one of my guides. But he was kind of in the in between state, and I didn't want to know either way if he was going to pull through or pass. I just stayed completely neutral because I didn't want to impact the outcome, and I think that that's important to note as well. It has to be up to them. And so I opened the portal to give him the choice, and I was very aware of other beings on the other side, people that were his relatives. There were some of my relatives that I know. My grandmother always stands behind me when I'm doing death doula work. And I gave him the choice, and I just observed. I got the whole family around him, and everyone put hands on him, and not one person in that family didn't have an experience. I think they all shared the death experience with him in some way. And the sister who had contacted me initially, we're still in touch, and we check in on each other from time to time. And she said to me, we were all changed that day, like, for the better. And I wrote a poem about it. I remember leaving the hospital, and I just remember when I left the hospital, I could see everyone's soul shining out of them, shining out of their eyes, shining out. It was like everyone was lit up in light. And because I knew that that portal was still open, and I was still sort of part of the way in the in between. But it was almost like I could see the angelic aspect of every person's soul. And to me, we're all world angels. Every human is angelic. We're all part of that angelic energy. And it's just a recognition, really. But that's part of the work that I do on the World Angel program, for example, is I teach people how to do earth service, so looking at it on that global scale. It's not just healing for the individual, it's healing for everybody, but also recognizing that every one of our individual experiences that we go through affects the whole, and it affects everyone. If you're healing yourself, you are healing everyone. And I think in many ways, as healers, the old thing used to be running around trying to heal everyone, right?
Yeah.
Heal yourself and you're going to heal everyone. I swear to God, it works. Your whole reality will change the minute you start working on yourself, and just focusing on you and loving you and making sure that you're okay, and healing it and helping each other. But it's not a rescue program,
No.
and that can actually limit and hinder. So I wholeheartedly believe that every person's soul knows exactly what it's doing, exactly what it's here for. And a lot of it is just acceptance, which again is part of the alchemy. Unconditionally loving every person where they're at, how they are. But of course, as humans, it's hard. It's hard to let
Yeah.
go of judgment. If somebody is, and you can't, like, love doesn't mean that you say yes to everyone and everything as well. I mean, recently I went through a big challenge where I had to stand up and say no to somebody. And that was hard for me as an empath, as somebody who never wants to hurt anybody. But a big program of mine was to let myself be bullied and walked over because I didn't want to hurt anybody. But there are times when you actually have to, with love, say, hell no. And
Yeah.
yeah, you might find that that's part of the initiation. That's one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, was to say no to somebody, because I was being loving to myself. That is tough. It's tough. And
Yeah.
I still have so much compassion for the other person, and yeah, it's a really, really tough thing. So I wouldn't wish that sort of initiation on anybody, but it is sometimes necessary.
Yep. And you always come out stronger at the other end. It might take a while to actually get yourself back together, but you always come out
Yeah.
stronger.
Self-love, real self-love. Man, we think we've got it. I always get through levels of it, the path of self-love. I thought I'd nailed that. I thought I'd really nailed that years ago. And then you realize, oh God, there's another level of this. I'm still not being loving enough to myself. And then, are you still going to love yourself if we throw this at you? Oh, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah. And Derek says, I think that's the biggest thing to learn. I've been going through that and kept training myself.
Yeah,
Um,
really, really
and
hard. Yeah,
It's art. You can, Alexandra is living proof you can get through it and come out the other side and still have that compassion for that other for the
yeah,
other
yeah.
person.
Nothing but love. Nothing but love. It's a tough one, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, you did with that. So how did the second book sort of like start coming to process? Because you did the first book, you did the cards, and it's like, oh, okay, then, oh, okay, I need to do another book now. Where did that come from?
Well, this was meant to be called Archangel Alchemy, um, but because of said challenge, the title had to be changed, or
Mm,
was changed. But actually, um, I realized that there was so much more, that it was always meant to be a book. It was originally going to be a book, and I pitched it around various publishers as long ago as like 2013, 2014. Um, and but there was more. It was like, but there's more, but wait, there's more. So my agent and I had a conversation, and she looked at the manuscript and she said, this is an oracle card deck. This could be a beautiful oracle deck, because there were 40 angels in it. And so we sat down and we developed it into an oracle card deck. And for the oracle card deck, I actually had to take out a load of information.
yeah.
And then I spoke to my publisher, and she said, well, what about a book? And I had a lot of extra information that I really genuinely wanted it to be a book. It was always meant to be a book, and it had already been developed into a healing system. But I'd been teaching it kind of top and tailing angelic Reiki workshops with the work of this, and I've been teaching it alongside precious wisdom, and I'd been running little bits of it in retreats. And finally I sat down and developed it into the whole healing system and the body of work that was brought through from the angels. And I thought, the book needs to be the whole healing system, and I didn't want to hold anything back. I wanted to give people a tool that meant that they could read the book and they would have all of the healing system at their fingertips. And if they want to go and train in it, I'll teach it. It's certified. I'm registered with the Complementary Medical Association, and you can become an intuitive healer in it. But if people want to just teach themselves and have it, it's like a handbook, really.
Mm,
And I've gone through, so all 40 of the angels that are mentioned in the Oracle card deck make an appearance again in that book, but there's a lot more besides. So I talk about angelic technology. As I said, every chapter has the science. So you learn about the science of light language. You're going to learn about scientific studies into death and dying, into near-death experiences. The whole mathematics um, of angels is in there, the sacred geometry, but also the vortex mathematics, and there's a lot more besides. I also talk a lot about the dark side of spirituality, about the false light, about psychic attack, about dealing with entities. Um, there's techniques to teach you how to dowse, how to check and clear your own energy field. I mean, it's basically the whole kit and caboodle. I also have it's like several books in one book. And I've also shared in there all of my channeling protocols. So what I do is my personal process when I channel, which no one taught me, was taught directly to me from spirit, from my guides. They showed me every protocol that I needed to go through to channel safely. Um, and I teach you that, how to open up and close down your energy fields. There's like psychic development stuff, how to sharpen up your clairvoyance, because one of the things that I was born with was a very supersonic, visual, clairvoyant brain. So it is very physical and tangible and real when I have these fully embodied experiences. So it's about helping people to hone their experience. You don't just have to get what you're given. You can go, hang on a minute, I want to hear more clearly, I want to see more sharply, I want everything in technicolor. You can absolutely do it. Put your hands on the steering wheel and ask for what you need. So yeah, so I think it's like an ascension handbook courtesy of the archangels. And yeah, it's my gift to everybody, because I thought, if I'd had this book when I went through everything I went through, it would have been a lot easier.
Exactly. The book would have been years,
It
been written
probably
years
would have
ago.
been
You'd be so far
completely
advanced.
dog-eared, you know? I'm like, I didn't have a manual. There was no manual to what I was going through. It was awful. I was like flying blind. So I didn't want anyone, and obviously, everything shifts and changes. So even that's probably, no, I'm a great saleswoman. Even that's probably a bit out of date now. But I mean, it will, given what I'm now experiencing. But I think that people will be met where they're at on the path, and it's definitely, and I would say anyone from a beginner to a seasoned, expert will get something out of that book. It covers all bases and takes you on a very deep journey. So,
Yeah,
and is
no,
a really good counterpart for this. They both go hand in hand. They work very well together. So
yeah. So anyone who normally used to follow Alex, if you think she's been quiet for a little while, that's the reason why.
I've been busy.
She's
Um,
been busy, traveling, or being able to travel when other people were managing to get through, when other people managed to, writing a book. It's like, again, it's when you trust the angels, trust the universe, everything just opens up for you.
Well, yeah, it's not always smooth sailing, but yeah, if you trust that you're where you're meant to be, it absolutely will. Absolutely will. For anybody who wants to learn Archangel Alchemy as a certified therapy, I have just set new dates for it on my website. So 2nd to the 5th of September, I think, is level 1. I've also set new dates for Precious Wisdom, and the World Angel program is starting again on the 23rd of August. I think it's 23rd of August. And that's a 6-week program, but it's every Tuesday night for 6 weeks. And that's the grid worker program. So if you do think that you're a grid worker and a service worker, and you want to just have a little bit more of a framework and a bit more support, it's a way. And also, it's an active group as well. So we are doing active planetary service as a group as we do those 6 weeks. We're always looking at what's on the news. Every group is different, but we're looking at what's current, what's going on the news, and how we can help, and what's coming up for each person in their personal life. And it's really deep work, actually. The last two, I've had 22 people each on it. And actually, they were all women, but it's open to men. I'm like, really, so it's like there's so many women that have been doing the grid work. Like, come on, boys,
Exactly.
let's go.
But I think there are more men coming through now, because I've
Absolutely.
certainly noticed it, with my clients. I'm getting a lot more. I've got a lot more men coming through, now that are interested in talking about it. And they're like the plumbers and your
I
builders,
know, I love
etc.
it.
And it's like, it's so amazing. It's so brilliant that it's kind of, the balance is coming back. So,
Yes,
because again, this year being 2022, it's about unity and coming back into balance, the yin and the yang. That has been coming up a lot recently. Um,
absolutely. That's
uh,
it. It's and the sacred union of the feminine and the masculine, the dark and the light. And again, it's the merging of the two. As we merge the two, it's like we're opening a whole new field. That's where the new world is. It isn't dark, it isn't light, it isn't good, it isn't bad, but it is that transcended world where everything, it's like we're moving from duality into that whole
oneness.
transcended oneness. And we're probably going to, who knows how long it's going to take, but I think that there are so many people already having experiences of that, dipping in and out of it, you know, just feeling like, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Like you could be like, oh, that's really amazing, or oh, that's really rubbish. And it's like now it's like, meh, meh.
Yeah, it is. It is what it is.
Some days I'm like that. Some days I'm like, what's going on?
But that's
Yeah,
that's 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 the that's the human side.
exactly. Yeah. It
Yeah, and
depends
Eric,
who's running the show.
exactly. And Eric's going, just pre-ordered your book, so
Oh, bless you, Eric. Thank you. Well, you have to let me know what you think, hun. I have to say it's quite a hefty book. It's 336 pages.
I was gonna say
They
that's a
yeah,
table book.
they asked me for about 65,000 words, and I ended up giving them about 95,000 words, but I don't think they quibbled.
Yeah, they're, they're,
I didn't wanna hold
it's what
anything
people
back.
did.
Yeah,
No, exactly, and it's what people, and if they're happy to do it, hey,
yeah.
why not? So, would you like to do something for our viewers who are watching this live or replay?
I'd love to. I don't know quite what yet. I thought what we'll do is we'll pull some cards and see
Hmm.
what's coming up for everybody. I just have a look through. Thank you all for your comments and being so interactive as well. It's lovely to see everybody on here. And like I say, the group energy is just gorgeous. It's always nice to know that when you're doing something live, it's when I do my YouTube show, I always pre-record them, but there's something magical about doing it live.
There is,
I
yeah.
really love it.
Yeah, I love doing the lives as well. Even if it's just one person, watching or joining in, it's just such an amazing energy. Yeah, I love doing these
I
lives.
love it. So I thought what we'll do is we'll pull a card, but if everyone could just go into your heart and just let's set a collective intention for the highest and best message or angel to come through for the group tonight. And the angel that's going to give us the biggest guiding light and helping hand for the themes that are coming up for us today. And when we talk about death and transitions, I guess the predominant emotion that can come through is grief. And a lot of people are dealing with grief for reasons that they don't even know why. It might not be that you've lost someone, it might just be that you're dealing with grief about something that seems insignificant but is still affecting you and impacting you. So you don't necessarily need to know why you're experiencing an emotion to have that emotion. And our emotions are a great tool, they're a great rudder. So I'm going to ask for the angel that's going to really help us with our emotions, to deal with our emotions tonight, to help us move forward across any personal transitions. Oh my God, it couldn't be better, that we're going through. Okay, so we're talking about holding the balance. And I'm a Libran as well. So the scales and tipping the scales and that duality. So the angel that's flown out of the pack is an Archangel Zuriel.
Ah,
And so she's depicted here as a female whirling dervish. And obviously, they whirl in devotion, it's about their divinity. But as an angel, she is an angel associated with the astrological sign of Libra. And she holds the balance. So she holds everything in balance, the energy that holds the very planets in the sky and keeps the earth spinning on its axis. It's that sort of energy. And it's a little bit of a 0 point energy. So she's really about, no matter what life throws at you, holding your center and keeping those plates spinning in the best way that you can. But I'm going to read the message in the book. I don't really know these off by heart, but
oh, you've written so many. There's 40 of them. You're not expected to remember every single word you've written.
I love it. But I mean, her name actually means God is my rock. So it is that stability point that we were talking about, that inner central point. And she brings opposing forces together to create that neutral zone. So the message is call on me to bring harmony, diplomacy, and fair play to all your interactions. I will help restore your equilibrium. And her flame is like a beautiful pinky violet flame. It's like that pinkish purple light of divine unconditional love. Um, and if we can, when life is turbulent, I find it really helps just to sit in stillness sometimes and imagine yourself as though you're in the eye of the storm, and just pull back, just see yourself almost as the observer of it. Just let yourself come into your central point. So we're going to do that now. I'm just going to invite everybody to just, if you haven't got your eyes closed, you might want to close your eyes and just be aware of where your consciousness is centered at the moment. Where is your awareness? It might be up in your head, you might be thinking, um, it might even be floating outside of your body. I want you to just bring your consciousness into your body, but then sink it right down. We're going to bring it right into the very center of the body, behind the navel, the very central point of the body, and just find a spark of light in that space. And one of the things I love to do with my clients, and it's actually in the book as part of the healing process, is to help you disconnect from any drama or anything that's going on around you and find your own place of stillness. So we start to become aware of this point of light behind the navel. And as you breathe in, I want you to just imagine that that light is getting bigger. It's turning into a sphere of light, like an inner blazing white sun. And the more you breathe in, the more light you breathe into it, the more power and potency that light has. And that sphere starts to expand right out through your energy field. And as it expands out through your energy field spherically, it's simultaneously transmuting, cleansing, like a white, blazing white fire through the energy field. We're going to add in some gold fire, the gold of spiritual alchemy. So the cleansing and then the transmuting. So it doesn't just cleanse away and release, it changes the state. So any lower vibration energies are transformed back into love, and then they fill you back up with love. So it's a flow of energy. Beautiful diamond white and gold. Now we're going to add in that pinkish violet, the beautiful pinkish violet of Zuriel. And it's also on the cover of my book, that spectrum of pinkish bluey violet. Absolutely beautiful, transmuting, softening energy, and opening into a deep energy of divine love and compassion, compassion for yourself, compassion for humanity, just softening and just allow or intend your hard edges to start to dissolve, a little bit like water running through sugar cubes. Just see those hard edges dissolving away, just softening and opening. Open that sphere of light right out around you. And I want you to imagine that you can send this light, this love, this softness, this transmuting energy to the very edges of the universe and beyond. Your consciousness is not limited. You are divine. And I want you to set an intention to just send love out into your world, to send peace out into your world, to send bliss out into your world. And if you knew that heaven was contained within this seed of light within you, and you could share that heaven with everybody, just let that be your intention. Just share that heavenly energy with everybody, with everyone and everything. And then we're going to let that go, just release that light, let it go to wherever it needs to. And then I want you to come back to your belly. Become aware of the spark of light in your belly again. We've opened one out and released it, but that spark of light never dissipates, it never goes away, it's always there. This time we're going to shrink our energy right down. I want you to pull your consciousness into your body, right into this spark of light in the center of your belly. So you're pulling yourself back, making yourself smaller, shrinking yourself down. I want you to make yourself so tiny and microscopic that you draw yourself right back in through your navel, through this spark of light. And you're actually disconnecting from the whole matrix here. You're making yourself so small. It's like you're flying way under the radar, disconnecting from the media, from any drama, any conversations, anyone else's thoughts or emotions or feelings, anything that's being sent your way, disconnecting, pulling yourself right back in till you become absolutely minuscule, like at the tiniest atom. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pull ourselves right back from that spark of light into the void, into the space of pre-creation, into the unmanifest. So you shrink yourself right down and you let that light blink out completely and everything goes black. But it isn't a black of darkness as in a negative black. It's like a womb space. It's like fertile soil. It's like the black hole, the place where both the creation and the uncreated exist simultaneously. And it's in this place that anything can be manifested. It's where our thoughts can take seed. So, in this inky blackness, I want you to just let any emotions wash over you, let go of anything, any resistance, any restriction, any tightness in the body. Let yourself float here for a moment. Let yourself be held in the womb of the Great Mother. This is divine feminine energy, just feeling warm and safe. And I want you to set an intention for how you would like to recreate your existence in this reality. If you could press reset, then we're going to start with a feeling. So, how do you want to feel? How would you like to feel today, tomorrow? And you can reset it every single day. This is the most simple process. So, if you've been feeling sad or angry, frightened, terrified, even, just disconnect from anything that has triggered that, anything that has created that. And we're going to set the intention for how you want to feel. So I want you to start to imagine, and everything starts with our imagination and our intention. And even if you don't believe it, you can just tell your logical mind that you're playing. So, what would it feel like to imagine the most beautiful, joyful, blissful feeling to start bubbling up within your belly right now? Call up a feeling of absolute love. What if you could feel completely at peace? And it might help to call up a memory where you last felt that. Call up a time of joy, of laughter, somewhere, maybe when you were with a loved one and you just fell about laughing. Call up that feeling. And what we're going to do is we're going to, in 3, 2, 1, we're going to ignite that feeling, and it's going to be like the supernova, and we're just going to let it blast through our reality. So we're not going to do it gradually. We're going to release it. We're going to blast it in a 3, 2, 1. So when I count down from 3 to 1, I want you to imagine a massive explosion of this positive feeling going off in your belly like a firecracker and going all the way out, as far out across the universe as we sent that first sphere of light when we first opened up. So get your feeling ready. Let's start feeling it bubbling up within you. Feel all the exuberance of it. Feel excited about this. Start to let it build in momentum, in potency. And then in 3, 2, 1, explode, release. Send it right out across the multiverse. And you might be aware of different colors, symbols, shapes, sounds, tones, music. And just let yourself release it. That beautiful intention. You're sharing it with everyone, the wonder and the miracles. And I want you to know that it's opening pathways and doorways to new opportunities for you in your life as you have unhooked from the old and opened into the new. And this is instant alchemy. And you can just be curious about how this is going to play out in your life. But we're just going to release it right out across the universe. We're going to allow it like a ripple, like a wave of energy to touch everyone and everything in its path, sending it to all your loved ones. And it opens potential for them to find their higher states of bliss and joy and love and to say yes to themselves. Just releasing it out. We're going to call on all of the archangels now to join us, to come and stand around us and to gift us with their love and their support and their bliss and their awareness of us. So I want you to imagine that in front of you is a full-length mirror, And in this full length mirror, you're going to see the reflection of your angelic self. And you're going to see what you look like in your most illuminated angelic self. I want you to see yourself lit up in robes of light at your most beautiful, your most radiant. And I love that Ray is radiant angel energy, your most radiant. In your most radiant angelic energy body, you're going to see yourself in this mirror. And I want you to really, really see it. And I want you to really celebrate it. And then I want you to imagine that that beautiful angelic aspect of yourself is stepping out of the mirror, because it isn't a mirror at all. It is a door. And that angelic aspect of you is stepping right into your body and merging with you, turning around to face forward, integrating with you now. And I want you to see yourself as that illuminated angelic being. Feel what it feels like to be that divine angelic being. And you might start to feel a tingling at your shoulder blades. And I want you to be aware of your own beautiful angelic wings opening at your back. And I want you to really feel them, these wings of light, and feel how far out you can stretch them. And just be aware that in your heart now, a golden symbol is revealing itself. And this golden symbol in your heart, probably contained within a circle or a sphere, is a little gift that is a piece of evidence that this experience has indeed happened. And you're going to see this symbol or this small gift somewhere in your daily waking life. You'll either see it, or you'll hear about it, or you'll read about it, but it's going to turn up probably within the next 2 weeks. But you don't have to go looking for it, but you'll know it when you see it. And it could be something as simple as a gold key, or a feather, or a rainbow, or an apple, something that represents wisdom. Could be a halo. Someone got a halo. And I want you to really receive that. Now just feel that symbol melting into your heart like liquid gold. Feel the warmth of it. Feel it opening out, going through all the meridians and the chakras of your body, really illuminating you from within. And then I want you to just shrink your energy field, your consciousness right down so that it becomes body shaped. So you're calling yourself back from how expanded and open you've become, calling yourself back. Now, as you call yourself back, I want you to imagine that you are transforming into a huge pillar or portal or tunnel of light. So you're becoming the pillar of light. And then we're going to expand that pillar of light out. And I want you to imagine that every one of us doing this meditation together as a group, we're now opening our pillar of light and joining it together. So we form one huge, big, diamond white vortex of light. And that goes all the way up through the sun, all the way up to source, to divine, and all the way down into the very core of Mother Earth. And we're activating the ascension flame within this column of light. And we're spreading this column of light out so wide now that it encapsulates the entire planet. And it opens to the highest divine evolutionary levels possible for every soul. Now we offer an invitation for any soul that has passed to find their way into this pillar of light and find their way home. But we're also offering an invitation for anyone who is remaining on earth in a body. If they are going through a difficult transition, we're offering them a helping hand. So if there's any program or belief system or contract or behavior or trauma or memory that they're ready to release, that it will be released into this pillar of light, and it is up to their higher self what that is. But we offer the invitation. We're just offering some assistance here. And you yourself might feel that there are old parts of you leaving. And something that I've seen quite often is where an aspect of you might stand up in your body and step out of you. And if that happens to you tonight, do not be alarmed. You are ready to release this aspect of you. Wish it well. You have just reclaimed your angelic soul self. So you have already gained something to replace it. And you'll find that many blessings will follow this part of you that, if this happens for you, this part of you that is leaving is a part that you no longer need, perhaps a part that was holding you back, a part that might have been lost in insecurity or had hardship. So it's time to release it so that it can heal and integrate. And again, this is an alchemy. And we just hold the energy, just allowing whoever or whatever needs to leave to go to the higher dimensions. And then we open to receive a downpouring of divine love, divine dispensation, and it will fall down upon you like a diamond rain. And just feel these beautiful diamond raindrops of living, like the living waters of creation, cleansing through your energy field, pouring down over you. You might start to feel tingles. You might be aware of sparkles of energy. And I'm being told that we're being given a DNA activation as this beautiful holy rain falls over us. And just softening into self-love, really coming into a deep love and tenderness for yourself, having compassion for yourself, deepening into compassion for everybody else on the planet. And now we start to shrink that pillar of light back down. So we separate out our consciousness from the group consciousness, bringing your tall pillar of light back into your energy field around you. So it's as though you are a cylinder of light. And then we're going to shrink that energy, disconnecting above and below, shrinking that energy down, bringing your consciousness into the body and just making it body shaped. And we're going to seal it in a diamond white lining, a bit like the silver lining of a cloud, and then a gold lining, and then an indigo lining around the body. And just sealing your consciousness into your physical body, become aware of the weight of your body and sink yourself. So we're going to do shrink, sink, and shield. So we shrink our consciousness right down. We sink our weight into the chair. And you might want to imagine that you have a big magnet on your tailbone or on your feet that is pulling you down into the earth. And imagine that in the core of the earth is another magnet, and these magnets are attracted to each other, the gravity of the earth pulling you down. Become aware of the solidity of your body, the physicality of your body. You might want to just squeeze your arms and legs, pat the body, and then we shield. And you might want to shield yourself by imagining a beautiful cloak of protection. I'm seeing a beautiful golden cloak coming around each of us, sealing our space. I always put a huge diamond, and again, you'll read about it in the book, the huge octahedral diamond in my energy field that is the hardness of an actual 3D diamond, sealing your space. And we just place a finger to our lips, as in a shush, just to seal the space. And we thank all the angels and the guides and the beings of light who've been present here for this beautiful sharing, this assistance, this opening of a bridge between heaven and earth to allow any souls or aspects of souls to pass beyond. And we wish them well, and we ask that they be surrounded and supported and protected on the next leg of their journey. And I ask the same for all of you. And just finally, really sit and bathe in self-love. And that's the best thing you can do for everybody, is to really wholeheartedly know, that self-love is, we've sort of been taught it in inversion. We had it all wrong all these years. Self-love is absolutely necessary, and it isn't selfish. And you can love others and yourself at the same time. And when you're ready, take a deep breath in. And before you open your eyes, just want you to make a heartfelt wish from your heart, a heartfelt wish. And release it off into the universe. And then when you open your eyes, I want you to really notice the light and the energy around you, and just see if anything feels different, if you look around you, has the energy around you changed? When I work with energy, energy can feel very tangible to me. Sometimes I feel like I can reach out and grab handfuls of it, and that's how I feel now. It's like, wow, the energy is really alive. And it is. We live in a living universe.
Yeah, there's lots of lots of energy and everything going around. Beautiful rainbows.
Absolutely beautiful. Oh, hi,
Sunita.
Sunita. Oh, that's gorgeous. Well, look, here you are, honey. We're drawn to each other.
Yeah, and if you didn't watch the whole thing from the beginning, you can watch the replay and get the benefit of Alexandra's wisdom throughout this. Anna says,
Hey,
powerful,
Anna.
thank you.
Oh, big hugs, Anna.
And then giving everyone a chance to come back. That was brilliant. Thank you so, so much for that. That was absolutely lovely.
Oh, thank you, gorgeous. And thank
To-
you, everyone, for um, allowing that or for being part of that. That's,
Yep. And Eve says, was lovely. My energy is pure and light. My ankle feels better.
oh,
Beautiful.
easy.
She
That's good.
says, thank you. And Sue says, Lavinia says, oh, we're not doing general readings, Lavinia. That's my other show. Sue says, so beautiful. But Lavinia, if you go back and watch the replay, you can get the activation that's just been done and the card that
So, Lavina, I would say the card that we drew, that will be a personal message for you too, honey. That will be a personal message. I'm getting there's a lot of benefit. There'll be a lot of benefit in meditation for you because you'll be getting your own personal messages through as well. I always think the best way to receive guidance is through your own guidance first and foremost, isn't it, Ray?
yeah,
Oh, beautiful.
absolutely. You know, it's like when I do my weekly reading, as I say, this is my interpretation of the cards, but there may be one card that stands out more for you, and that is
Yeah.
the card for you to look at and meditate on.
And again, it's perception, isn't it? Like what one perceives in the image or the message on the card, there might be other bits that other people would pick up, and we all have our own individual
Yeah,
lens that we look through. So, but it's a good way of
which is
of
how it should
teaching it.
be.
Yeah.
And there it says, "Thank you. That was an amazing experience. We're definitely coming back to this often."
Oh, lovely,
Brilliant.
Eric. Oh, it's
Yeah.
lovely to meet you all, and lovely to see some familiar faces on here.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
it says, "I can
Oh,
feel the
Anna,
diamond's energy."
beautiful. You're
And Eve,
very welcome, Lavina.
exactly, please. And Lavinia says, "Thanks for your guidance." Yeah, it's been absolutely brilliant to have you on here. So, Alexandra, do you have any insights or thoughts to leave our viewers?
Insights or thoughts?
Mm.
Oh,
Any last words of wisdom?
the strongest thing I'm getting coming through is really believe in yourself. There's so much in this world that can push us off our path, that can trip us up, that can, if you've got a dream or a goal or a purpose that you really want to follow, do it. Just do it. Do it for the love of it. One thing that I think being around death a lot and looking at themes of death a lot, I think I wholeheartedly want to live. I really like to try to live as fully and as beautifully and as exuberantly and as joyfully as I can. And not for want of having done big, hard journeys through the dark night of the soul. But you don't want to get stuck there. And I did get stuck there for many years, and I have, been pulling myself up out of it. So it is about enjoy the journey, but believe in yourself and don't let anyone tell you no if there's something you really, really want to do or something you want to create, or if you really believe it's for you. And another Lorraineism that my friend Lorraine says quite often is, "What's for you will never pass you by," and it's absolutely true. It won't. And yeah, you may come to crossroads, but always stay true to yourself when you come to the crossroads, and true to your integrity, because
Yeah.
we do get tested.
Absolutely perfect. So I hope everyone that you've enjoyed this conversation and found it insightful, because I know I definitely have. As always, when Alexandra comes on the show, the energy and the wisdom is so amazing. So, Alexandra, if people want to connect with you, how do they do that?
I guess the easiest way is just my website is, I've now got stuff on the website. So alexandrawenman.com. I'm always on Instagram and Facebook. My Instagram is at Alexandra C. Wenman. Facebook, Alexandra Wenman, or I have a business page, which is Alexandra Wenman's Precious Wisdom. But I mean, everything you'll find on my website would be easiest. And I'm on YouTube, and there's an interview with Ray on my YouTube too, so you can go check
There
that out.
is,
We must
yes.
do another one, honey, at some point.
Yeah,
We must.
I like the sound of that. We really must do another one. And what I'll do is I'll put links to all Alexandra's contacts, and links to where you can get the books and the cards from as well. So you don't have to go searching for it. You just need to come back to the comments here on Facebook or on YouTube, and you'll be able to click straight on it. Make it easy for
Mm,
you.
thank you, honey. I think if we just go to the shop page on my website, I've got it. I've got most of the links on there, so that might be easy for you,
Perfect.
Ray. Might save you a job.
Yeah, I'll just put the website on there. So much easier.
So much easier.
For me on that. And Sunita says, I will get your book for sure.
Oh, thank
Um, that,
you. Bless
that's
you.
absolutely
And
brilliant. So,
definitely let me know what you think of it, guys, when you get it. And I'd love to hear any feedback on the cards or anything. I know that if you have the time, Amazon reviews on the cards are really helpful, because they help us to get them into more shops and places rather than just Amazoners. It's good to get them into actual shops, like the nice ones like Watkins and
yeah,
the lovely ones.
we
Yeah,
like Watkins, and
yeah,
some of the nice ones down in Glastonbury as well.
definitely. There's some good ones down there.
Oh yes, there's some very good ones. I have to be very careful when I go down. I mean, I went down there a couple of weekends ago and ended up buying this necklace and a new
I
duffel bag.
noticed that necklace, young lady. That is
I
very
know.
divine. It's
Yes,
beautiful.
I'll tell you something about that
Is
in
that
a
a
bit.
Stone Age one?
No.
It's not. Oh,
Is it Stone Age? No, it is. Yeah, I think it's Stone Age. Yes,
beautiful. Very
yes.
beautiful.
Yes. Yeah. So thank you so much, Alexandra, for sharing your wisdom. And thank you, everyone, so much for watching. And of course, if you have reached a crossroads in your life and you need some guidance in stepping onto your spiritual path and getting clear on your journey and how to get there, then I would love to be that guide for you. So please feel free to reach out and connect with me so we can arrange a free clarity call to discuss where you are now and how you can move forward to take charge of your destiny. And Eric says, do you have any recordings of the exercises from the cards? Have you done that yet?
Actually, Eric, if you go on my YouTube, there is a free class. There's a whole class on the cards. But no, to the actual meditation recordings, no, but it is in the planning. It's in the pipeline. And I can't remember exactly what I did on that class, but it's about a 2 hour long class, and there's extra things in the class that actually didn't get printed in the book, because loads more information keeps downloading about the card. So yeah, you'll find it on there, or on my website. If you go to the events page, you can click through to the YouTube from there.
Yeah, perfect. See, it's all easy to get to for
So
that.
easy to get to. But
Yeah.
thanks, Eric, because I must do those recordings. You're right.
You must do those amongst everything else you're doing as well. I'm sure you can fit it in somewhere. And of course, please feel free to join my weekly newsletter and receive a free future life progression recording where I take you into a future lifetime to get guidance and clarity that you can use in your current life, as well as a couple of other free gifts. And again, thank you everyone so much for watching. And I'd like to invite you to share this video, as I'm sure there are more people out there who feel lost and want to get clear on their destiny, just like you. And of course, if you are watching this on YouTube, then please feel free to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell button to be notified when the show goes live or I post new guided meditations. And I look forward to you all joining me same time, same place again next week. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.